Hello, this is Abby Jr. It is September 18th, 2021, and this is my video presentation for Module 2. I will say before I get started, please pardon my voice. I have had allergies and it's just been kicking my butt, so I apologize if my voice goes in and out. And so I chose to talk about the digestive system for Module 2. The main function of the digestive system is to essentially digest foods and convert them to different forms so we can absorb the nutrients into our body to tissues and cells that need it. So the digestive system is made up of the digestive tract and accessory organs. So the organs that I will be talking about today are the stomach, the liver, and the small intestine. Starting off here, we have the stomach. So the anatomy of the stomach, we have the top part here, which is called the fundus, and then this whole body area is actually called the body. It's called the gastric body. And then down here, this bottom part, the inferior part, is the pyloric part. And in there's a pyloric sphincter that separates the stomach from the duodenum of the small intestine. And similarly, up here on the superior part of the stomach, we have the cardiac part. So this separates the esophagus up here from the stomach, and there's a sphincter in there that makes that separation possible. So in relation to the rest of the body, the rest of the tract, as I've mentioned, that the stomach is lit up in blue here. So it is superior to the intestines down here, it is inferior to the esophagus, and it is anterior to the spine. So you can see the spine there. This is an anterior view of the human body. And so I have also taken away the liver. It's usually right here, but it just, this is so you can see the stomach better. So next, the main function of the stomach itself is it's a storing and a mixing chamber, so it secretes gastric juices that mixes with the foods and breaks them down further before going into the small intestine. So next I will talk about the liver. The liver is again lit up here in blue. There's a couple parts to it. This is another anterior view, and we have the left lobe here, and on the other side we have the right lobe, which is much bigger than the left, and attached to the inferior posterior side we have the gallbladder. And in between the lobes we have ligaments. So we have the falciform ligament and the round ligament. And in relation to the rest of the body, as you can see, the liver is inferior to the esophagus. It is anterior and slightly superior to the the stomach, and it is definitely superior to the small and large intestines, as well as the pancreas. That is posterior to the stomach. So the function of the liver is to produce bile for digestion and excretion. So bile is what gives feces that characteristic kind of brownish color. And the liver also assists in detoxification, and it stores and processes nutrients. So that's the function of the liver. And next, last but not least, I will talk about the small intestine, again lit up in blue here. I have removed part of the large intestine, usually goes across and down here, because it was kind of covering, and I want to just talk about the small intestine. So the aspects of the small intestine, up here, this part, the top part, the superior part, is the duodenum. So the duodenum, as I mentioned before, is connected to the stomach through the pyloric part in the pyloric sphincter. So this is the duodenum, the first part, and then it goes into this whole part here, which is called the jejunum. It's the second part of the small intestine, and then the third part is the ileum. So this is the ileum over here, and then it kind of, you can't really tell, but it squirms down here, and this is where it ends. This is the final part of the ileum, and I did leave part of the cecum here. The cecum is the first part of the large intestine, so you can see that the ileum of the small intestine it's connected to the large intestine through the ileocecal crest right here. So this is the small intestine. In relation to the rest of the body, it is inferior to the pancreas, the stomach, the liver, the esophagus, essentially most of the digestive tract, and it is superior to the rectum. And I apologize. And the main the main function of the small intestine is this is where most of the digestion and reabsorption really take place. So the most digestion happens here, and then the nutrients are absorbed through the walls and transported throughout the body to tissues and cells that need it. So that's the small intestine, and one of the diseases that affects the digestive system is GERD. So it's gastroesophageal reflux disease, and what this is it's also called heartburn. So because it makes a feeling of like, your chest is burning, you have like heartburn in that area of your chest because there's acid reflux from your stomach up into your esophagus. So I'll go back to the stomach picture so I can explain this further. This part here, there's the lower esophageal sphincter, and that normally prevents the reflux of gastric juices from the stomach into the esophagus. However, when people they may eat too much fried food, too much fatty food, maybe too much alcohol, caffeine, or they overdo it on the NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, such as ibuprofen or aspirin, that can cause this reflux. And it becomes a disease. It becomes GERD when it happens chronically, so 2 or more times per week. So otherwise, it's just reflux, but when it's 2 or more times per week, it's considered a disease, and it's considered GERD. So ways that people can manage their GERD is through lifestyle changes, maybe cutting back on the fatty foods, less caffeine, that kind of thing. People can also take medications, and there's also over-the-counter antacids that can help with reflux. So that is just a little bit about the digestive system and the organs that are associated with it. So thank you.